Back when I started developing games, it was an absolutely monumental effort because you'd have to bring together all these different software packages and APIs to actually make the game function. But then came game engines, and what the game engines did was actually package all these things together so that they worked nicely and played well when you went to use them. And Unity is one of these game engines. As we've seen so far, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do in Unity, and all of these are basically managers or subparts of the engine that you can access to do different functionality. And it's not any different with the actual game objects themselves that we'll talk about in this video. But just quickly, if we have a look at all the different parts of Unity in this illustration, and this is by no means the full extent of Unity's functionality, but just some for illustration purposes. And you can see there how the game object itself has all these different little sub-parts that we've already experienced through the projects that we've looked at so far. For example, a game object works in the physics system because it might have a box collider and a rigid body on it. And it works in the graphics because it has a mesh renderer on it. Everything that appears in the hierarchy window is essentially a game object. And then in the inspector, you can see that game object and all of the components that make that up. Now, this is a very important concept in Unity because it builds behavior by stacking components onto any game object. So a game object can be anything based on the components that you put on it. For example, it can be a camera, it can be a light, it could be an animated character, or it could be simply just a basic cube. Let's investigate how game objects work by doing it in Unity. So here I've got a new Unity project. It is a URP project, just like we've been working with before, and it's brand new and completely empty except for the main camera, the directional light, and the global volume. We won't be touching those in this video. So first of all, we're going to create an empty game object, or the very basic object that you can create. So in the hierarchy, right click, go create empty, and then you have a game object. Now while it's still blue, we can actually give it a name, my first game object. Now the important thing to note about an empty game object is that you can't see it for a start. It has no shape, it has no physics, it has no visuals at all, and it has no behavior. The only thing that it has is a transform. Every basic game object has a transform on it, and this transform determines where that object is in the world, how it's rotated, and how it's scaled, which might seem a little bit odd when you've got an empty game object because it doesn't really need all of these things, but we're working in a 3D engine and that's just the way it is. So if we double click on this and try and zoom in, you'll actually see that you can't zoom in on it at all. You can move the camera beyond it because it actually has a position, but it has axes there, and of course you could move it around. If you move up and down the Y, you can see that that Y changes over here. But for this particular game object, that doesn't mean anything because, again, it doesn't do anything. So let's add some components to it. Select your empty game object, and then in the inspector, we're going to add component. We want to add a mesh filter. So the mesh filter defines the actual shape of the game object. Of course, if it was just a sound, it wouldn't have a mesh filter because it doesn't need to be visible. But in this case, we're making something that's visible. Now, as soon as you add that mesh filter, you'll see that it says none because there's no mesh in there. Now, this mesh is the 3D model that we've looked at in a few videos ago. So if we still had that chair model that we used previously in this scene, you could actually put the chair mesh in there and make this object into a chair. But we don't have it, and so we're just going to make it into a cube. By default, Unity has a whole bunch, and by a whole bunch I actually mean just a couple of meshes. So if you click on that little target button that's next to the mesh filter, you'll see the meshes that are actually in Unity by default. We're going to go with cube, so just double click on that and I'll put a cube mesh in there. Now we can't see that in the scene view. Even if we double click on it to align it in the camera, we still can't see it. Now the reason is that it doesn't have a mesh renderer. So renderer means to actually draw something in computer graphics. So without that, it's not visible. We're going to add a mesh renderer now. So in the inspector, we add another component. So this gives us a renderer behavior. Now, if you click on that, you'll instantly see the cube, and it's a beautiful shade of pink. If you can't see the cube, again, just double click on the game object itself, which will center it on the camera so that you can see it just there. Or with it selected, you can also put the mouse in the scene view and hit the F key, which will do the same thing. Now, why is this cube pink? Well, the reason is it has no material on it. So you can have a mesh renderer, which allows you to see the mesh and the structure of the mesh, which is the shape of it, but it has no color or lighting effects on it or textures or anything, because that's where the materials come in. And if you have a look on your mesh renderer component, by default, you'll see that a new one doesn't come with a material. So we need to create a material and put it on there. So quickly, we'll go down into assets and we'll just right click, create, and you want to find the material, which is up the top here, which is quite handy. So there's our new material. Let's call it white, because it is white by default. You can see what it's going to look like just there. Feel free to change the color if you like. Now let's come back to the cube, and you can get that white material and drag it into the materials there. You can also actually drag it into the scene. So if you're putting it on multiple objects, you can actually drag it and drop it on lots of different things, and that will add it to that particular game object. So now you can see the cube that we have just created just there. Okay, and we've created it from scratch. Now it doesn't have on it a box collider or a rigid body. Now we looked at those previously when we were making the chair fall and bounce and things like that. But we're not doing that in this video. But know that you can come and add in a box collider or a mesh collider, and then also the rigid bodies that you might want in here. So this is fundamentally how Unity works. Everything in the hierarchy is a game object, and you define that game object by putting components on it. So the cube in this case, it has a cube, mesh filter, and a mesh renderer, which we added a material to. The camera, it's a game object. It has a transform. Remember, all game objects have a transform, and it has a camera added to it. It also has something called an audio listener and a universal additional camera data. Is that data script? Yes, a script. And we'll get to scripts a little bit later. And the light, if you have a look at that, you'll see that it has a transform, of course, and it has a light component, and then also a script on it as well called the universal additional light data. So you can see from that just how you define all of these different game objects, and you give them all different types of behaviors depending on what components are on there. Now, most of the components that are on a game object can be turned on or off. In the case of this cube, you'll see that the transform and the mesh filter have to stay there, but you can turn off the mesh renderer by just clicking that little box near there, and that will turn that component off. Now, this is a nice feature if you want to have a component on a game object, but you don't want it to actually be doing anything right now. So you want to kind of disable it, and, for whatever reason, for testing something, or because you want it to come on later on. For example, you might have this cube just appear, which you would just, in the code, turn that on and off, which I'll show you how to do later on. So that's very handy without removing it, as I said before. So what you can do if you have to remove something is over here there's this like 3 little dots. If you click on that, you get a menu. Now this menu is actually off my screen. See if I can bring this in for you there and go like this, and we can go and remove component, and that will actually get rid of that mesh renderer altogether. The other things you can do in here is to reset the component as well. So that will put it back to sort of factory defaults And in this case, whatever settings you've changed in that component will just go back to zeros. If I reset it, it will... Oh, I didn't lose the material. I thought it would do that, but it didn't. But other components will actually go back to their basic state. You can also move the component up and down, and now that means you can move it up and down inside of the inspector. The reason that you might do that, and you don't really need to do it that often, is that some components, when they get very complicated on the game objects, can start to sort of affect each other and interact with each other in ways you don't really want, and you kind of want them to function from the top down through the list here, so that you don't actually put a component on here up the top that might be affecting the mesh renderer. But again, I've, in my entire time of using Unity, have very rarely, if I can even remember, an instance that I had to do that. But you can do it there anyway. Okay, so let's now just bring that back over here. So that's basically what game objects are and how the components work to make your game object work. So if it's not doing what it should be, it's probably missing a component. For example, if you can't see your object, it might not have a mesh renderer. If it is pink, then it has no material. If it isn't falling when you turn on physics, then that means it hasn't got a rigid body. If it falls through the ground when you've got a rigid body on it, it doesn't have a collider on it. So these are all the little things that you need to sort of learn to make sure that you've got this little bit of a checklist for things when they're not working the way that you would expect them to do. Okay, so imagine you've created this amazing game object and it has, heaven forbid, 20 different components sitting on here, and you want copies of that. Well, that's where the next Unity concept that we're going to look at, prefabs, comes in.